Can mosquitoes and other insects spread deadly bacteria and viruses from one human to another in order to assist in a pandemic? Well, if you are from South America, Africa, or Asia, then you already know the answer, which is in fact yes, they can, and they do all the time. Viruses and bacteria in the blood can get sucked into a mosquito, and then when the mosquito flies over to another human, they are then able to transmit it. They can essentially become carriers of various diseases. In the example of raccoons, which I know are not mosquitoes, they are what's called a rabies vector species. Now, rabies is a very deadly virus with a 99% fatality rate once symptoms start to show. However, raccoons and other wildlife creatures may not be dying from rabies. In the example of bats as well, they are able to carry and transmit this virus. However, they may not die themselves. And the exact same thing which happens in bats and raccoons, being a vector species to help a particular virus or bacteria transmit, this exact same thing can happen to mosquitoes, as well as other insects where they essentially become carriers, where they allow the virus or bacteria to live in harmony with themselves while transmitting it to other carriers. Now, I know what you're already thinking about, and currently there is no scientific evidence that COVID-19, also known as coronavirus, is spread by mosquitoes or other insects. There are many ways that various viruses and bacteria can evolve in order to transmit, and in the case of COVID-19, it seems more like COVID-19 spreads via sneezing and water particles and stuff like that, which pretty much goes into the air. So don't worry about specifically COVID-19 because there is no current evidence that mosquitoes are spreading COVID-19. However, that being said, even before this pandemic, mosquitoes are technically considered the deadliest creatures on Earth. And we made some content about this already. Pretty much, bears, wolves, whatever, these creatures can attack you. A shark can bite you and kill you, and that's a really horrible way to go. And, it's pretty obvious how a bear or a shark can kill you. It just bites you and the trauma wound is what kills you. However, in the case of mosquitoes, how can these be the deadliest creatures on Earth? Well, we already know the answer, which is that they transmit deadly bacteria and viruses towards us. So while their bite itself might be very minute and cause no more than a bump or a scratch, it can actually be injecting you essentially with a very deadly virus. And this happens in the case of malaria, which is an extremely deadly disease. It kills almost 1 million people every single year, at least 500,000 every single year around the world, and there are hundreds of millions of cases of both malaria as well as other diseases which are specifically spread by mosquitoes and other insects which bite people. And this is a really hard problem to deal with because we can't just kill all insects. Insects, in fact, make up 50% of all known species on Earth. So even if we were to create some type of drug or weapon that could kill all insects, this would actually cause a chain reaction, which would end up severely negatively impacting all of Earth because there are just so many different types of insects. And then another problem with this situation is that insects can evolve so fast. The reason for this is because when they reproduce often, so they have very, very short lifespans. Some of them can only be alive for a week or two, so they're pretty much born and within a week they're reproducing, and by the next week they're gone. So they are reproducing very quickly. This allows for their genes to mutate more quickly, but not only that, they reproduce in extremely high numbers. And when you're reproducing in high numbers and extremely quickly, you're going to get new kinds of genetic variation very, very fast. And there have been scientific studies proving that in some cases, such as the London Underground Metro, there are literally new species of insects that have already been discovered that have evolved for the London Underground. So imagine that, just within the last 100 years, already an entirely new insect mosquito species has evolved to be particularly adapted to life without sunlight. They are totally evolved for living inside of the London underground. So this creates a huge problem, because even if we create some drug or some weapon or something like that that would kill all mosquitoes, well, very, very quickly they would evolve to become immune to that, or they would find another way. So this creates a huge problem where these creatures, mosquitoes, are spreading these deadly diseases and viruses, and they are essentially acting as carriers where these viruses can live in harmony with them. All right, so some of these viruses, they don't even kill the insects, because it is more wise for them to use them as carriers and then spread over to us humans. Now, of course, in some cases, the viruses will kill the insects. And there have been cases where, viruses or bacteria will actually wipe out an entire colony of ants, for example. This does happen to insects as well, just as it does with humans. However, the reason we see so many insects which end up turning into carriers is because if a virus or bacteria kills off all of the hosts of it, well, then it dies off as well. Because if you're a virus and you kill everyone that you infect before you can infect other people, well, the virus is going to die itself as well. So the viruses which end up living and spreading are viruses like malaria or rabies, where they can use creatures such as mosquitoes, or in the case of rabies, bats and raccoons, to spread to other creatures. So the best thing that you can do, the personal responsibility which you can take, is to avoid wildlife and pest infestation inside of your home. You see, bacteria and viruses are more likely to evolve and actually infect you if they are in close proximity with you. If, for example, a virus or bacteria evolves into a strain which would be highly likely to infect and kill humans, but there are no humans around for them to infect and thus kill, that strain, that evolutionary strain, will actually die off rather quickly because there are no humans to infect. However, if you have insects living inside of your home or wildlife infesting your attic, then it's going to be all the more likely that deadly diseases and pathogens are going to spread over to you. So if you think that you have a wildlife or pest related problem, we at Wildlife X Team International specialize in the safe and responsible removal. If you have a raccoon or some type of wildlife animal, we're not just going to kill it and dump its dead body. We're going to safely remove it and restore it into the wild so that way it can exist safely and peacefully with nature, and you can carry on normal as well. And in the case of pests, we're going to make sure we get those removed and exterminated if need be. And we're going to make sure that they don't infest your home ever again, and any damage that they have caused has been completely restored. So to summarize, yes, mosquitoes and other insects can spread deadly diseases. However, in the case of COVID-19, we currently do not need to worry because the current COVID-19 virus strain is unable to spread via mosquitoes and insects based on the currently available scientific information as of April 10th, 2020. If you have a wildlife or pest related problem, it's important that you contact us as soon as possible so we can remove it and you can stay safe, happy, and healthy. Thank you so much, and this is Michael with Wildlife X Team. We'll see you later.
Having trouble with wildlife in your home or office? Wildlife X Team is your solution to get rid of the raccoons, bats, rats, and snakes. Having a professional team, we offer both residential and commercial animal removal methods by using innovative and integrated techniques. Our services include animal trapping, dead animal removal, nuisance wild animal control, and animal capture. What are you waiting for? To get 24/7 service, call us at 855-WILDLIFE for an affordable solution for your nuisance wildlife issues.